Ready for a little recognition?
AMSN is proud to support its members and celebrate their incredible contributions to advancing the nursing profession and improving healthcare.
Through scholarships, awards, and grants, AMSN recognizes leadership, excellence, and innovation within the nursing community.
Take the next step in your career and be acknowledged for the impactful work that you do.
Explore AMSN's awards, grants, and scholarship opportunities by visiting amsn.org/awards-grants.
On this episode of Med-Surg Moments, this is my first week back to work.
I finally found a routine to be consistent with the gym, and that's...
Do you mind sharing why you changed hospitals?
How to put professional accountability into action. And professional accountability isn't just checking.
If I need to give feedback to somebody about something that I saw happen or heard about or whatever, keeping it about that.
We need to protect our own career, and we need to foster
For you to put a spotlight on something without it being a drama issue or like a gossip.
In a perfect world, it sounds easy to say, hey, you accidentally did this when we should have done that. And it would be nice if that's how then it spreads around the nurse station and then you get signed.
And that's one of the struggles that I'm dealing with on my unit, gaining that environment where you feel safe enough to come to your peer and have those conversations.
So I'm right here auditing charts and I go upstairs and I go, hey, you got to go chart this. Hey, everyone, if you didn't do your pain reassessments, now's a good time to do it just in case you get...
This is Mary Tess.
Sam.
Eric.
Marcella.
Kellye.
And Sydney. Welcome to Med-Surg Moments, the AMSN podcast.
This podcast is an engaging look at the lives of and surrounding medical surgical nurses.
We're proud Med-Surg nurses just like you, sharing our stories, insights, and experiences to support you in your nursing journey.
Our topic today is how to put professional accountability into action. But before we get started, how about some personal updates? Eric, I know you're on your lunch hour, and thank you for taking the time for this. What is new? I miss you.
Oh, I missed you too. And everybody. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Hi, Kellye.
Hey.
I'm Marcella. This is my first week back to work. So I'm still technically on modified duty. So I'm doing desk work. I'm not on the floor technically in patient care, but it's just as exciting. It's not exciting.
No, it is exciting. This has been like a saga, a long saga for you, and our listeners I know have been cheering you on from all over as well.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone's love and support. I feel like next time they're just going to put me down, though, like a racehorse for this stupid ankle. I feel like I'm 85 to 90% there. I have 1 month of desk duty, and then I will be on the floor next month. So it's exciting. I almost missed this podcast because everything happened very instantly, and that's why I didn't have time to schedule. Work said, we need you now. I've been off for a year. I really couldn't say no. But no. It's funny. I had these fears and trepidations of coming back just because it's been so long. I've been off for a year, like a whole year. I've been reading books and practicing, just to keep fresh. It was almost terrifying how easy it was to slip right back into the role. I knew the codes for the doors. I knew how to put an NG tube in. Everything you just think about. It's just like, oh, it's ingrained in me. It's in my DNA. So I'm stuck with nursing, I guess.
It's like riding a bike.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
It's like riding a bike. But I love it. And thank you, everyone, for being so supportive and adaptive. And that's it for me, though. Marcella, what's going on with you?
I've done 3 maternity leaves as a nurse, and those jitters coming back to work are intense. So kudos to you for jumping right back in after a year. That's great to see.
Thank you.
So personal update from me. I have 4 younger brothers, and one of them is in the military, and he is visiting right now after being gone for almost an entire year. to me, he's still my little brother. You know, he's in his mid-20s, but to me, he's my little brother. It's been wonderful, all of us connecting again. And, you know, I have 3 young children and they actually didn't recognize him. So it was great to see him holding my 1-year-old for the first time. So it's been an emotional weekend. We like to play songs and sing together. I don't play instruments, but I do like to sing sometimes, and he'll pull out the guitar. So we did that this weekend, and it was lovely being with my family. And then professional update, I have worked at the bedside for 7 years at the same hospital. And a couple months ago, I started working at another big hospital. Believe it or not, I was not ready for how hard that change would be. I felt like a new nurse. I'm finally, after a couple months, getting used to this new location, but it's finally starting to feel a little smoother getting in there, and I'm really liking it. Sam, what's new with you?
Well, before I get into any updates, do you mind sharing why you changed hospitals?
Like I said, I've done 3 maternity leaves, and on the last one, I did not want to come back. I just really wanted to do the stay-at-home mom biz, but we're just not in that state income-wise. So our goals are such that I need to still work. But I was looking for a change really just to spark my interest again. And going into the field of applying and interviewing, which I hadn't done since I came out of nursing school, it reignited some of that excitement that I've been looking for. Talking to other employers also made me feel a little more appreciated than I expected. To be honest, I found a position very quickly and it was paying me a lot more than my previous job. So sometimes when you're just kind of comfortable and you're scared to venture out, just take a look, because I did not know that I could find a job that really suited me in another season of life. And this one worked out great for me. The other hospital is a little more like downtown Chicago. It's a little more renowned that people are aware of. But for me, I was over the Chicago traffic and I wanted to get out west of Chicago. Both are great jobs, but sometimes the pros and cons just end up where you want to try something new.
I think that's so great. Thank you for sharing that with everybody. Personal updates for me, I don't feel like I have a lot to share. And I was kind of looking back at what I talked about last time. I talked about reading. We're planning Theo's birthday, which has just rapidly approached. I was not prepared. Nobody told me how fast the first year would go. I've got about 20 more CEs that I need to recertify my CMSRN. Still getting all that organized and finished up. That's kind of about it for me. Kellye, what has been new with you?
My family and I, and my husband and my 2 kids, we joined a church that's very close to our home. We were attending a church about an hour and a half away. So I think that has made a huge difference in general, just mental health, our journeys at work, our work-life balance, all of that stuff. So I feel like joining this church has been a really positive influence into our lives, our marriage, and just things that we have going on. So I'm very excited about that. The kids love the church because my kids are very in tune with their spirituality at such young ages. So for them to like their Sunday school teacher and to like the children's church, I'm excited, you guys. So just being consistent, working out. I finally found a routine to be consistent with the gym, and that's going twice a week and just loving it. For professional updates, this is annual competencies for my unit. So just getting those annual competencies out to nursing staff. I'm trying to have a different approach to this. A lot of people are like, oh boy, Kellye, why we're doing this again? What's the purpose? So just trying to put a new mindset, changing people's mindset to these professional compliances and just different things in nursing. So,
Hey, Kellye, I actually found an easier gym routine is if you just skip it 7 days a week.
you know what?
Because then,
That's the one I'm doing right now.
yeah.
No, it's helping me with my mental health, Eric. It really is. It's been a game changer. So at least twice.
Kellye, I want to follow you in both the church and the workout groove. I really do. I feel so ashamed. You said you were going to a church an hour and a half away, because I have a church at the end of my block that we have not gone to since we moved here, and I want to go so bad. And now I feel so ashamed.
You know what? Guess what? I'll be y'all accountability partners, okay?
Yes,
So
please.
just hold each other accountable. Starting next week, okay? So Meritess, how's everything going?
Well, I'm inspired. The 1.5 hour, that's really very inspiring. So let me start with personal updates. About 2 years ago, I bought a book and it's about cooking. I've been keeping this for a while now.
Wow.
Yes, because I don't cook. My mom-in-law lives with us, so she does a lot of the cooking for us. And so when I went back to the Philippines for a vacation, I wanted to learn how to cook comfort food, but I don't know how to cook, period. I don't know anything like that. I don't know even how to chop the onions, why I always cry. But I bought that book. Somebody recommended me. Thank you so much for that recommendation. Starting January of this year, the meal plan that I've been doing for our family yearly, now I'm cooking it. So I'm improving on that part.
Awesome.
Makes me so excited.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. But is it good? There's always room for improvement. It's all about trying. My kids would always say, can we just cook Spam or bacon? It's all about honest feedback. If it's too salty, just tell me. It's okay. So, but I'm getting there.
Meritess, are we going to see a YouTube channel popping up sometime soon? Meritess's Meals or something?
I love that.
In all of her spare time, she's going to start a YouTube channel.
And you're just going to see my hands. No Meritess, but just hands and everything else. You got me an idea there.
Faceless YouTube. That's amazing.
Right? Enough of that personal update, but I'm more excited with the professional update. Kellye mentioned about the ongoing competencies. I want to say kudos to our team in our organization who's been really working a lot with ongoing competencies and initial competencies, not just checking the box. You know how we have all these paperworks that we need to complete because it's part of regulatory and it's just like, okay, you know what? Everybody got a competency. All right, done. Check it off. But are they really competent? Are they really doing it? Are they really implementing it? I'm very proud that I belong to a team. We are not just accomplishing the work, but we're doing the right thing for our colleagues, for our patients. Also, another update regarding the AMSN West Palm Beach chapter. I was able to get a buy-in from a facility and someone is willing to be the president of the chapter. Not sure yet if I can announce the name, but that is the latest update. We're going to be putting together a meeting and hopefully submit that application before the certification week in March. So we'll see. Why don't we move on to our topic, how to put professional accountability into action. And professional accountability is such a strong term. How do we really apply it each day, every shift? If you're at the bedside, when you're making your decisions for your patients, does these decisions really impact patient outcomes? Or if you're at the bedside and you see a colleague cutting corners, as a colleague, you see someone who's not really following the policies or following the policies, but then you're faced with ethical dilemma when you are in that situation. So professional accountability isn't just checking the boxes, but it's upholding the trust of your patient. The patients trust us. We need to protect our own career and we need to foster a culture of excellence at all times. And I always say this even though no one is watching.
We're going to pause for a quick moment to tell you about a special AMSN membership offer just for you through the end of this month.
Hey, Med-Surg Moments listeners.
We have an exclusive offer for you.
When you join AMSN by March 31st, 2025, using the code AMSNPOD,
You will receive $5 off your membership.
Visit amsn.org/join and be sure to enter AMSN-POD when you check out.
Okay, we're back.
I love this topic personally. I feel like this is something that comes up often in the world of nursing education and professional development that I live in the hospital side. And it's something that we're always trying to incorporate little bits and pieces of into course offerings or newsletters, workshops, whatever it may be. The lens that we're usually looking at this with is peer-to-peer accountability. Like, how can we have these conversations with each other in a professional, meaningful way to hold each other accountable for doing the right thing, following the policy, being respectful, all of those different things. And I think what has helped me the most, and the advice that I usually give people when we're talking about this, is it's easier to do when you're keeping it about the patient. Everything we're doing is caring for patients, keeping them safe, helping them get better so they can go home, usually, or whatever their plan of care may be. And so if I need to give feedback to somebody about something that I saw happen or heard about or whatever, keeping it about that patient for me makes it easier. Instead of pointing this finger like you did something wrong, it's like, hey, for patient safety, it is our policy that we do X, Y, and Z because whatever it is. And I have found that to be helpful to always kind of frame it in that way. And the other advice that I usually give people is to practice saying some of these things out loud, even if you're like by yourself. You're in your car, driving to work, you're at home, whatever. Cognitive rehearsal, saying it out loud will make it easier when the time actually comes. Like, hey, Marcella, I have some information for you that I think is important for you to know. This happened with this patient and we noticed the bed alarm wasn't reset and we think you were the last one in there. Like, just make sure you check that the next time you leave your patient's room. It doesn't have to be this big, huge event. You don't need to go tattle to your manager or your assistant nurse manager all the time. Like, we can be doing this ourselves, and it's going to build such a nice culture of being able to have these conversations back and forth.
First of all, Sam, don't call me out for not turning the bed alarm. No, I'm kidding. Absolutely. I love how you said that about keeping it casual. I am kind of obsessed with being a night shift nurse. It's just a whole different culture. And what I was noticing is that the new nurses on day shift, everything became something they were reporting to the manager. And I think they just didn't know that you can just have a one-to-one conversation with your fellow nurses. Of course, it's great if there's like a near miss with a critical medication. A lot of hospitals have a way for you to report it without someone necessarily getting in trouble, just so that the hospital can work on a way to prevent mistakes from happening like that again. So there are ways for sure for you to put a spotlight on something without it being a drama issue or like a gossip issue. Sometimes you're the quote unquote bad guy. Sometimes it's not another nurse. Sometimes you finish your shift and you realize, man, I could have done so much better than this.
I think we've all experienced or seen that experience where maybe something an experienced nurse caught that we might have missed, especially being a newer nurse. But I think that's just the nature of the beast. Till you get 40 years, 50 years under your belt, I think it happens. In a perfect world, it sounds easy to say, hey, you accidentally did this when we should have done that. And it would be nice if that's how it ended. But you have all those interpersonal relationships. Now you've got someone who's like, oh, they don't think I know how to do my job, or, oh, they're accusing me, or, oh, they think they're better than me, and all that stuff. And then the guy, and I know, because then it spreads around the nurse station, and then you get sides, and it's rough. I never like going to the manager, and it's not anything like I'm reporting, but I always think we're adults. And I always say, if you have a problem with me, or if I made a mistake, feel free to tell me, at least give me a chance. I don't think there's any reason you should go behind someone's back. And we could just stick with Maricela being the bad nurse. We could be like, oh, Sam, oh, did you see Maricela did this? And oh, let's go tell the boss. Everyone wants to be the best they can. We all want to follow policy, but maybe we don't know the policy. Maybe we don't have it memorized. I think everyone here genuinely tries to do their best. And I think we're just all at different stages. Right now, because I'm on modified duty, I'm auditing charts. So I'm supposed to report back to the manager and be like, oh, this is what I got turned in my reports. So I'm right here auditing charts, and I go upstairs and I go, hey, you got to go chart this. Hey, everyone, if you didn't do your pain reassessments, now's a good time to do it. Every nursing physician is just stretched and understaffed. They're not looking at patient care, so to say. They're looking at making sure you filled in all the boxes.
Yeah, I think there's always a balance with those things. I think we talked about that a little bit when we were talking about nurse-sensitive quality indicators, along the same lines of professional accountability, trying to do the right thing. But when your resources are so limited, your time is so limited, and you're trying to keep everybody as safe as possible, it can be really challenging.
Like you said, Eric, is so rough because you have to deal with so many personalities and people kind of take things a little too personal, but just trying to foster a community where it's okay to peer coach and peer check your teammates. It's okay because we're all in this together. We're all learning. And that's one of the struggles that I'm dealing with on my unit is just gaining that environment where you feel safe enough to come to your peer and have those conversations. And so on the topic of professional accountability, I wanted to say that I love the way my organization right now is using something called error prevention safety tools. We are introduced to this when we join our organization. It's called the Always Safe campaign, and we use the acronyms of SAFE, S supporting the team. And in doing that, you have tools to help you understand what is it that I'm doing as the nurse to support my team. I may peer coach and peer check my coworker. I may debrief with them things we could have done differently in that situation. We have a debriefing segment to where after the code, the charge nurse and the nurses that were involved and the PCTs all come together and talk about it. They have those discussions with stat team on things we could have done better, things that we could have prevented it. The A is asking questions. How are we as nursing asking these questions to develop being comfortable around patients or asking questions about doctor's orders, things like that. The F is focusing on the task. And you all know when we're pulling medicines, we have these phone calls, we have people asking us questions, we have physical therapy, occupational therapy wanting to talk to us, but we need to focus on the task. We use the STAR, stop, think, act, and review. Then we have E, which is effective communication every time. We use the S bar, making sure we're using the correct acronyms. So everything involved with the error prevention safety tools, we are to know it, practice it, demonstrate it, and studies show that using these tools every day decreases errors. It helps with the professional accountability for yourself, and it also increases patient satisfaction. We play different games. We have different crossword puzzles. We do activities. We do role play just to kind of help us understand that we are professionals and we need to take more accountability in the things we're doing and the culture that we're creating. So I think that's pretty neat.
That is great to hear, Kellye. I was looking for this new job that I have now recently. And when I was looking at hospitals, it's programs and policies and initiatives like what you just named, including magnet status.
You're a better nurse than me because when I was looking at what hospital to work at, I was looking at who gave me the weekends off. You're like, I need to find a magnet hospital. I need someone to enrich my knowledge. I need the weekends off.
That is so true too. I'm not going to say that the money wasn't a factor, but the magnet status just makes you feel safer as me being protected and my patients being protected, finding a way to report these things without getting in trouble. If a hospital knows that these are things that happen to nurses where you're in a situation you get in really sticky situations involving family, involving death, involving the law, really sticky situations. And I appreciate a hospital that really takes it into account where you want to be able to have that conversation with your superiors, with your peers, without being reprimanded. And I think programs like what Kellye talked about are absolutely necessary.
That's a very smart way to think about it. I honestly never thought of it like that. I mean, it's almost like they care so much about every single little aspect that they take such good care of it. A real good point.
Another reason bedside shift report is so important is that you walk in, you do your check. Is the patient okay? We're checking stroke signs. The patient is on oxygen. Is it connected to the wall? Simple things like this. Is it on the number that the nurse told you it was going to be on? They told you 5 liters. Is it on 5 liters? I walk in and it's hanging off the side of the bed. Sometimes the patient is transported to a test and transport brings the patient back to the room and the nurse might be busy and they're like, oh, just go ahead, leave them in there, which is in our hospital not policy. You have to do a warm handoff. The nurse needs to come to the room and verify that it's the correct patient. Thank you for bringing my patient back. Reconnect the oxygen. So in this situation, whenever they last brought them back from a test, they did not reconnect the oxygen to the wall. You don't want to scare the patient. You want to make sure that they're okay. And you also want to just let the nurse know, hey, thank you, but their oxygen was not connected. So we get a set of vitals, make sure that their oxygen isn't too low, and then just remind the nurse. When the transporters bring the patient back to the room, please verify that they're on the right level of oxygen.
Some examples that come to mind for me are ones where I was working with providers. One of them, he'd been asking me some questions. This has been a patient that had been on our floor for a very long time and just had some various kind of chronic issues at this point. And so I remember he asked me like something about what has her heart rate been doing? And I said, I was told in report this, but I haven't verified it yet. And he was like, thank you for saying that. Because I think so many times we can try to cover up that we don't know something. We're expected to have all the answers, right? And in that moment, he was just so thankful that I owned that I didn't know and that I was going to check before I told him anything. That really stuck with me. And I think it stuck with him too. We ended up being, I don't want to say friends, but we worked really well together from that point on because I felt like he really trusted me and he knew that I was not going to skirt around the things that I didn't know. And that when I was bringing things to his attention, it was stuff that I had already double checked and that kind of stuff. So those kinds of moments have sat with me for a long time. And they're things that I like to share. It really helps with that relationship building with different colleagues, not just nursing, but all the different interdisciplinary teams that we work with in those med-surg areas.
Patients really appreciate that too. It can be intimidating when you walk into a room and there's 5 family members and you're taking care of their family member. But when they have questions and you don't pretend to know or you don't wiggle around what they're saying or avoid them and say, these are the things I do know. These are the things I don't. Here's what we can do moving forward to explain that.
Yeah, I think it's all about trusting relationships, know your scope of practice, because that's how you really can maintain your professional accountability. And that's when we can develop prudence and I would say professional ethics as nurses. Well, believe it or not, we're just about out of time. But before we close, let's go around and have each of you share one thing you will take away from this episode.
Make sure you are doing your patient handoff in the room and you're doing your quick checks and you're being open and honest, not in front of the patient. It's just all about trust. It's all about taking time and trusting your instance and doing your checks and own your accountability for your rights and wrongs. Just do your handoffs, do your SBARs.
Don't be afraid of being wrong or speaking up. Don't be afraid that you're going to hurt someone's feelings at the expense of the patient's care, because it always catches up and it's going to fall in someone's lap. And I feel if you don't address it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
I'm going to take away that acronym that Kellye shared, the SAFE acronym. I'm going to look more into that. I think that sounds like a really helpful tool and really organizational culture that I would be interested in learning more about.
Self-reflection is always handy because if you're coming in and every shift is stressful for you, just take the time to review, is there a change I need to make in my home life? At work, do I need to come in 20 minutes earlier, get my papers ready? Because it's really taking the time to do all your checks, being comfortable having those conversations with your coworkers. These instances are opportunity for growing a relationship with those coworkers too, whether it's you who made the mistake or someone else.
I think it can be also so valuable to be actively opening up yourself to receive feedback too. Finishing your bedside shift report and asking, hey, is there anything that I missed? Anything I should have done differently?
Professional accountability is really teamwork. It's all of us. It starts with us as the provider, as a clinician, and also the culture that our team members are ready to correct us, mentor us, our leaders to be able to really listen to us if there are different challenges that we face, that we're not afraid. It's a just culture. It's character building. To our listeners, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. We look forward to connecting with you on the next episode of Med-Surg Moments, the AMSN podcast.
In the meantime, we encourage you to subscribe to Med-Surg Moments wherever you listen to podcasts.
To reach us, use hashtag MedSurgMoments on your social posts.
Or send us an email at amsnpod@amsn.org. That's amsnpod@amsn.org.
We are all AMSN members, and if you love Med-Surg Moments, we invite you to become a member of AMSN. You can learn more at www.amsn.org. med-surg.amsn.org.
Finally, the content within the Med-Surg Moments podcast represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the co-hosts and may not necessarily reflect the views, thoughts, and opinions of the Academy of Medical Surgical Nurses.
Until next time, this is Eric.
Mary Tess.
Sam.
Kellye.
Marcella.
And Sydney. And always remember, Med-Surg Moments is a moment in our lives and a moment in our Med-Surg careers that makes a huge difference.